I talked earlier today about Donald Trump and the Department of Justice has shuttered an FBI, a specialized FBI team that targets and combats foreign interference in our democracy, in our elections. They've got it done away with it. And as kind of in tandem to allowing malign influence to harm our nation, Donald Trump is also now ending a Biden-era task force that saw to seizing Russian assets as part of sanctions. They're doing away with that. So they can influence our elections, and then when sanctioned for it, or we'll take it half a step back, when Russians would interfere in our elections and then were then sanctioned for it, now there's not going to be as robust a mechanism to actually see that there is consequence. You see, Donald Trump and the team and MAGA world generally doesn't like consequence for the cult leader. That's not a good thing. Here's the headline from the Associated Press. And by the way, there's a bunch of doozy lines in this. We are in a situation where long-standing, storied institutions with good reputation in journalism are now shitting the bed, dropping the ball if you don't like the swears. We'll get to that from the Associated Press, but here's the headline. Trump's Justice Department ends Biden-era task force aimed at seizing assets of Russian oligarchs. The Trump administration's Justice Department has disbanded a Biden-era program aimed at seizing the assets of Russian oligarchs as a means to punish Russia for its invasion of Ukraine. The move to disband Task Force KleptoCapture is one of several moves undertaken by the Justice Department under the new leadership of Attorney General Pam Bondi. That presage, I had to look that up, by the way. Presage, it means a sign, or I think this would be a verb, be a sign or warning that something typically bad will happen. Presage. Ah, nice, right? I mean, here's the pronunciation.
Presage.
Presage. That presage a different approach toward Russia and national security issues. The department also ended the Foreign Influence Task Force, which was established in the first Trump administration to police influence campaigns staged by Russia and other nations aimed at sowing discord, undermining democracy, and spreading disinformation. The U.S. government, in the run-up to the 2024 presidential election, aggressively moved to disrupt propaganda campaigns by Russia, which officials have assessed had a preference for Donald Trump. So, wow, what a weird coincidence that the individuals of foreign hostile intent against our democracy and against the proper effective functioning of our government, that they're now being given a pass by the guy they prefer. Who would have guessed, right? Right? In a memo addressed to all employees Wednesday, the first day of Bondi's tenure, the Attorney General's office stated that attorneys assigned to those initiatives shall return to their prior posts, and resources currently devoted to those efforts shall be committed to the total elimination of cartels and TCOs, an acronym for transnational criminal organizations. The Trump administration has made combating the illicit flow of fentanyl. This is where it starts going off the rails for the Associated Press. They're giving cover, they're giving legitimacy to what the things Donald Trump says, and then kind of given a dismissive tone to the things he actually is doing. That, oh, they've made it a priority. They say this about fentanyl. Oh, it's a big deal. They say. They do nothing about it but say. But the thing that they're doing is really taking a back seat here, according to the Associated Press. The Trump administration has made combating the illicit flow of fentanyl in the U.S. a priority. The opioid is blamed for some 70,000 overdose deaths annually. What have they done to combat it other than talk? Other than Donald Trump flap the hole underneath his nose and have sound come out of it that is just repeating lines that gin up fear and spark confusion among the American people. The Justice Department on Wednesday also shifted its approach to enforcement of a World War II-era law known as Foreign Agents Registration Act, which requires people to disclose to the government when they lobby in the United States on behalf of foreign governments, including Russia or other political entities. Under the policy change, prosecutors were directed to focus criminal enforcement on acts of more traditional espionage rather than registration violations. Again, what a weird coincidence that Donald Trump is doing things that everyone thought he would to damage the United States, the country he is ostensibly the leader of. Despite the disbanding of the task force, Trump administration officials, including Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent, have called for a more aggressive stance on Russia. Again, you see what they're doing here. They've called for a more aggressive stance on Russia. Talk. They say this, it's saying this. Let's give them credit for the things they say, and let's underreport the things they actually do. Missing the moment. It's adjacent to anticipatory obedience to fascism, is what we're witnessing here. During his confirmation hearing, Bessent advocated for stronger sanctions on Russian oil, saying the Biden administration sanctions regime wasn't muscular enough. He says he called for this. Why don't you come back to me, Associated Press, when actually something is done and it's not just calling for and saying this, huh? How about that? I believe the previous administration was worried about raising U.S. energy prices during an election season, he said. Trump has said he will bring about a rapid end. Again, are you catching the language? Are you catching the theme here? Trump has said, he said a lot of shit, Associated Press. What has he done? What is he doing? What policies are enacted to enforce the protections of our national security posture on a global stage? What is being done? I don't want to hear what's being said by Donald Trump. Trump has said he will bring about a rapid end to the war in Ukraine and said talks are ongoing to bring the conflict to a close. We made a lot of progress on Russia, Ukraine, Trump said earlier in the week. We'll see what happens. We're going to stop that ridiculous war. You know what you also maybe should have said in here is that Donald Trump said the war would end within 24 hours of him taking office. It's noon on January 20th was the inauguration when he took office. Noon on January 20th. January 20th, it's February, Associated Press. Why don't you say what he said? Not a swift end to the war. I mean, look, I know a lot of us in this space bang on about how important independent media is, but this is why. This is why. This is why it's important that there are voices, not even just mine, so many in this space that is now filled with people who are dedicated to the prospect of the truth and holding power to account and giving you an unvarnished, idiotized accounting of what Donald Trump says versus what he actually does. What do you think? Comment below. You can call the voicemail line. Please call the voicemail line, 714-576-4054. Of course, you can email me as always, daily@dollemore.com. Please support independent media. You can help me create these videos. Take part in messaging to millions of people on a monthly basis. Click the join button below, see what's involved. $1.99 to become a channel member. Also, you can check out my Patreon page, which supports the podcast and this channel, and also Brittany Page's channel. It's an operation that is growing, and I would appreciate it. Patreon.com/IDoubtItPodcast. I'm going to go. I see you next time. Have a great weekend. Take care of yourself. Be genuine. Take care of one another.